Honestly, tonight's episode of TNA was pretty good. I think it was a pretty good fallout to Slammiversary, including a massive main event that feels pay-per-view worthy. But let's just start from the beginning, which was Santino coming out to the ring and him leading by example, saying that he's going to lead the charge of TNA taking back its stuff from NXT, and not only that, gaining some new stuff, such as him challenging for the NXT North American Championship. That's when Masha Slamovich comes out. Masha Slamovich wants her rematch against Jacy Jayne next week, and Santino makes it official. So let's just talk about that real quick. Masha Slamovich is 100% losing that rematch next week. And while I'm not against her losing the rematch, my biggest question is she not the one taking it back from Jacy Jayne? Like, who else is there? Like, I can't see Indy Hartwell being the new face of the Knockouts division, not yet. And Tessa Blanchard, right, I don't see that happening. That would be a lot of potential drama towards WWE if that type of headline were to be made, for the obvious reasons. So what's the idea? Because if Masha loses twice, is she gonna just defeat Jacy Jayne then the third time to take her title back? I don't know, but regardless, Masha Slamovich leaves, which is followed up by the System coming out. And the System are now officially completely babyface. At least that's what it seems like. And they all talk about how they're the heart and soul of TNA, and Moose announces that he's after the TNA World Championship, which, right on cue, Trick Williams and First Class come out. There's a little bit of a back and forth, Trick Williams just roasting the entire TNA roster and calling out how nobody can defeat him, which is when Mustafa Ali, someone we just called out, saying Trick better keep his name out of his mouth or he's gonna show him what he can do. Then Mustafa Ali and the Order for walk into the ring, and the System and the Order for start brawling, continuing that little rivalry we had built up between, and Trick Williams just watches on. I think that was a cool little detail of, and I like the overarching story of TNA is just not able to get on the same page, and that's what's stopping them, at least for the moment, from getting that world championship back. Like Santana and Joe Henry not being able to fight together to take away Trick Williams, and then tonight Masha Slamovich being too eager and not thinking her stuff through, the System and Order for all fighting each other while Trick Williams, the one they're supposed to be fighting, just stands there. I think it's a neat little detail of things aren't quite there yet for TNA to start taking things back yet, and I really like that, and it kind of explains why those belts are not there yet. Then we head backstage where the System really wants to get their hands on both the Order 4 and Trick Williams. Matt Cardona walks up. Matt Cardona says that the System helped him with his problems, so he's willing to help them. And then Santino announces that, well, yeah, okay, so later tonight it's going to be the Great Hands versus Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, and then the rest of the System will face Trick Williams and his crew next week. It was also during this that I noticed the little issue that happened all throughout the show, at least for me. I watched the shows after they air, not live, where they show this weird camera angle from the very top, which is supposed to be during commercial breaks. Then it's just this awkward 5 to 10 minutes where I assume commercials were to be shown, but then I just see this silent, no noise at all screen of them from above. It was kind of weird. Didn't really take me out of the show, I just skipped forward. Luckily for me, I can do that. But I noticed it happened quite a bit, maybe just a bit of technical difficulties, but it was kind of funny. The first match of the card though was the By Elegance brand, all three members going up against the Inspiration and the newest member of the TNA Knockouts division, Mara Sade, which is formerly known as Jakara Jackson, making her official debut on TNA. And just saying, I'm totally down for this signing. She's someone I really wanted to see a lot more of on NXT, but she never really got that opportunity. She was always just Lash Legend's manager and nothing more than that. So I'm happy she gets this opportunity. She looks pretty cool, love the new name. I'm hoping she has a lot of success here because I do think, at least from her looks wise, she looks pretty cool. She's not bad in the ring, so hopefully, there's something there and they push her. And again, any new knockouts in the Knockouts division is good because the Knockouts division at times does feel a bit lacking, so anything is good. A few backstage segments, then Indy Hartwell is interviewed when Dani Luna comes up to her and says thank you and congratulates her on her victory. That's when Victoria Crawford also comes up and says she wants to be their new manager. Neither Dani Luna or Indy Hartwell want that, but Victoria Crawford kind of mixes up their words and gets them a match for next week. So that was kind of funny. I really liked it. I'm intrigued to see where this is going. Is this meaning that the whole thing with Tessa Blanchard is ending now, Victoria Crawford and Tessa Blanchard's alliance? Because I kind of like what we're doing with Victoria Crawford here. And we also have Eric Young, who is extremely tired of everybody on TNA. He says that they don't really want it as much as he does, so he's gonna take things into his own hands. I mean, I'm not really interested in seeing a Trick Williams versus Eric Young match, and I don't see them teasing this without following up on it. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, I'm honestly not at this moment very intrigued between an Eric Young and Trick Williams feud, if I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Then we have Leon Slater coming out celebrating becoming the youngest X Division champion. He compliments Moose, basically confirming Moose's babyface role, talks about the moment with AJ Styles, and then calls out the Hardy Boys to celebrate with him. The Hardy Boys come out, they do celebrate with him. Steve Maclin then comes out. Steve Maclin also celebrates with them. It was whatever, it was just showing all the TNA World Championships that are still on TNA being together, and I think it was a pretty cool moment. You know, the X Division Championship, International Championship, and the Tag Team Championships. I found it really cool. I like the visual of them all standing there holding the belts. Now, you also have the By Elegance brand holding the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, but it wouldn't really have fit in here. But it's all cool. You know, it was a nothing segment. I don't think it really did anything, but I think that ending visual, it was pretty cool. I think they make it worth it. And then after that, you had a no-holds-barred match between Jake Something and Mance Warner, where Jake Something picked up the victory against Mance Warner. And I'm like, what? Like, why are we not pushing Mance Warner? He's one of the coolest not younger, but newer wrestlers that I really like on TNA. And along with that, I openly do not care about Jake Something at all. I think he's had too many start-stop pushes. I really have no investment in the guy. Not advocating for anybody's release, but like, you know, I don't care about him, and I'm so desensitized to him that I don't feel like I'm gonna get invested in him anytime soon. Where Mance Warner, on the other hand, I really want to see the guy succeed. I think he's really cool. I like all of his presentation. I really wish he got the victory tonight, because Jake Something doesn't need it, and he's not going to go anywhere after this. JC Jane and Fatal Influence come out, and they just absolutely roast the entire Knockouts division. And I mean fair, the Knockouts division, you know, after she put it like that, you know, it kind of sucks. And, you know, I want to talk about the Knockouts division real quick. Dani Luna is probably one of the best younger wrestlers they have right now, and she's not being pushed. Then you also have Indy Hartwell, who is really good, but her main strength lays in her character work, her kind of being a bit of a comedic act, and they're pushing her very seriously. Which is, no, I understand you want to have a serious competitor, but like, it's not where her strengths are, and that's kind of been hurting her, I feel, because as cool as her Tessa Blanchard feud was, I didn't feel like it reached its full potential. And then Masha Slamovich is cool, but I think everybody knows that the booking around her wasn't all that. So yeah, I get what Fatal Influence is saying, and you know, JC Jane is arguably the hottest act on TNA right now. At least when it comes to the Knockouts division, and that kind of sucks for TNA, because even when you look at that, Masha Slamovich is probably the closest woman to her. Besides that, there's nobody else, and I'd arguably say JC Jane is better than her right now. So yeah, it's a weird situation. Then we had a match between the Great Hands and the aforementioned System, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, and the Great Hands pick up the victory. There's a lot of interferences, but this tall security guard, part of Mustafa Ali's Secret Service, helps the Great Hands win. And I don't recognize the guy, so I don't know who it is. It's probably a wrestler. It would be very weird if it was just a one-off, you know, nothing happens from it. But maybe we're gonna get a new member of the Order 4, Order 5. I don't know, we'll see. But I did like it, and I'm happy the Great Hands pick up the victory they really needed, because they haven't had a big solid tag team victory in a while, and I hope they go after the tag team championships. I really think they could be an entertaining team to hold those championships, and if any team has to take it from the Hardys, it's not going to be Team 3D. So after that, I wouldn't mind if the System have a run with the belts. Then in the main event, it was Mike Santana versus Joe Henry, the match I mentioned that feels like it should be a pay-per-view worthy match, and it was pretty solid. And at the end, Mike Santana picked up the victory. Probably means he's gonna go and face Trick Williams now. I have no idea. But here's the thing, I don't know what happens to with Joe Henry next. Like I said, I think we're just waiting for him to run out his contract so he goes away, because he's NXT bound. What happens with Mike Santana now? Does it feel like it's too late to put the belt on him now? I don't think so, but I think we need a solid story in between, because you already teased the whole thing with Moose. You made a little tease with Mustafa Ali. You teased Eric Young today. And those, well, besides really Eric Young, are all feuds I would really like to see with Trick Williams for that TNA World Championship. So if we're gonna get those, what happens with Mike Santana in the meantime? And you know, I'm still firmly in the belief that Mike Santana should be the one to take that belt off of Trick Williams. I'm just concerned, how do we get there without making Santana lose all of the heat he's built up? But yeah, that was your episode of TNA tonight. I really liked it. I'd say it was a solid 9 out of 10. The only thing that really harmed it was the whole weird technical issues, but I guess that could have been just for me. I don't know if it was for anybody else. But overall, it was a really solid episode. I surprisingly enjoyed it a lot. Like, I don't know what it was. It just felt like a really solid episode, and that's very weird for TNA, because often their shows don't always do that. But I will say, I didn't like the Jake Something Mance Warner match. It felt like a whole nothing burger with the wrong winner. you could have really taken it out of the show. Besides that, really solid episode. So let me know what you think. Did you enjoy it too? What do you think of TNA recently? And do you think Mike Santana should be the one to take the belt off of Trick Williams? Or should it be Moose? Because I can see the argument being made there. Please leave a like, subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, bye.